Some criminals face justice, some die for their crimes, and others just disappear off the face of the earth. D.B. Cooper just might be the most infamous missing criminal of all time. The basic story is that in 1971, Cooper boarded a flight from Portland, Oregon to Seattle. He handed the flight attendant a note that claimed he had a bomb in his briefcase, and you know the story from there. He jumps out of the plane and into the annals of folklore forever.
At this point, he doesn't appear to be hung up in any trees. At least this is what we were looking for from the air.
The first real lead in the case cropped up in 1980 when a young boy walking near the Columbia River found a bunch of $20 bills with serial numbers matching D.B. Cooper's ransom money. By then, though, the trail had long gone cold. In 2016, the FBI finally stopped looking for Cooper after one of the longest active searches in its history. The investigation got an unexpected shot in the arm a few years later. In 2020, two individuals, Shante and Rick McCoy III, handed the FBI a parachute that they had found in their shed. The two siblings have since claimed that D.B. Cooper was their father, Richard McCoy Jr., a man who had carried out another hijacking in 1972 and was later killed in a shootout with the FBI. The FBI appears to have taken their claims seriously, too. As of late 2024, the organization is seeking verification via DNA testing, using samples taken from both the parachute and the plane D.B. Cooper jumped from. If you're familiar with the case, you know there's a lot of problems with that parachute claim, but we'll save that for another video. The point is, we're really not any closer to solving the Cooper case than we were before. Situated in the middle of the freezing cold San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz was once known as the place you put people if you wanted them to stay put. Over the course of 30 years, 36 escape attempts took place, and they mostly went really badly. 23 escapees were immediately caught, 6 were killed during capture attempts, and another 2 drowned. But 3 guys might just have made it. Their names were John Anglin, Clarence Anglin, and Frank Morris. They planned their escape well, using information from the prison library to learn how to build rafts. To make sure no one missed them on the night they tried to escape, they built papier-mâché heads to leave in their beds. And this worked too. The guards didn't notice anything was wrong until the next morning.
God damn it, Morris. I said get up! Jesus Christ!
The 3 escapees squeezed through a cement wall and used pipes to make it up onto the roof, where they then shimmied down a smokestack. They then constructed a raft using 50 raincoats, grabbed driftwood for paddles, and headed to freedom across the bay. Or did they? It's certainly possible the 3 prisoners left at just the right time, took advantage of the tide, and made it ashore. Of course, it's more likely that they succumbed to hypothermia, however, and drowned in the icy waters around the prison. Whatever the case may be, John, Clarence, and Frank were never seen again, for the most part. Here's the thing. There was a vehicle stolen the night of the escape by 3 men not too far from where the escapees would have landed, and among the supposed clues is a 1975 photo allegedly from Brazil showing 2 of the men. What we're saying here is there's a chance they made it. At his trial, Szilveszter Matuska claimed that he liked seeing people die, to the point of getting sexual gratification from it. But killing just one person at a time wasn't enough, and so he engineered train wrecks to kill many people at once. If you've never heard of him before, don't feel bad. You see, he was born in 1892, and Matuska trained as a mechanical engineer and may have been an explosive specialist in the Austro-Hungarian army during World War I. Matuska later worked in the mining industry, but soon realized that his true passion was derailing trains. His first couple of wrecks only caused injuries, although the third killed 22 people. After that, he was finally caught and charged for his crimes. Matuska fully admitted to what he had done, even suggesting that God told him to do it, and it was later reported that he had enjoyed a sexual thrill from seeing so many people hurt and killed. Matuska's initial death sentence was commuted to life in prison. He was still in prison at the end of World War II, and after that, no one knows what happened to him. What is known is that he was hoping to hook up with the Soviets as they rolled into the prison grounds. Matuska may have worked as an explosives expert for the Russians at the end of the war, and some rumors suggest that he fought with the Chinese during the Korean War. Whatever he ended up doing, all we have are whispers, as Matuska was never seen again. When you think of Prohibition, you probably think of American gangsters slinging hooch on the New Jersey boardwalk.
Nothing says I'm sorry like money.
But the US wasn't the only country to go dry. Alcohol was also illegal in Canada in the early 20th century. Just like their US counterparts, many Canadian gangsters realized they could make a lot of dough by smuggling liquor. At one point, bootleggers were making around $1 million a month. One Italian immigrant named Rocco Perri found a lucrative niche for himself in Prohibition-era Canada. Known as the Whiskey King, Perri was at the top of his game. He ran gambling houses all over Toronto and was big in the counterfeit money racket. That was until he vanished off the face of the earth. If he was killed, no one ever found the body, and if he walked off into a new life, he did a pretty dang good job of it. In 1944, Perri disappeared in Hamilton, Ontario after heading out for a walk. 70 years later, no one knows for sure what happened to him, but his biographer likes to think he was tipped off about a plot to kill him and used his connections to flee to the US. There's a letter addressed to his cousin that certainly makes it seem that he escaped to America and hid out there in relative obscurity. Aribert Heim worked as a doctor in Nazi concentration camps during World War II, where he earned the nickname Dr. Death. Unfortunately, he managed to escape after the war ended and went on to become one of the world's most wanted Nazi war criminals. During his time at the Nazi camps, Heim was accused of experimenting on healthy humans, including taking organs out of living victims and leaving them to die on the operating table. He was also known to inject poison into the hearts of his victims. After the war, Heim was thought to have escaped to Latin America. As it turned out, he actually continued living in Germany until the 1960s. When the authorities closed in on him, he fled to Egypt, where he converted to Islam. Neighbors there knew him as Tariq Hussein Ferri, an unassuming man who would never let anyone photograph him. In the end, Heim was never caught. He died of cancer in 1992.